have some private donations. And so those tend to be the three kind of main state
That would make it
foundation.
4 limbs.
Huh? Well, your federal and your state and your foundation, and then your
Grants.
private.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So, so how now, going back and forth
Yeah.
and seeing how these two correlate your work and the need of the society which you have experienced firsthand, how do we correlate that?
In terms of why I like doing why I like
Yeah,
it,
that
or
too.
passionate
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, of course.
You know, I try to think about how I've ended up here. You know, like you kind of try to reflect back and think, how did I get to where I am? And I think it was just a lot of single choices that kind of led me down different pathways, right? And so when I went to Baylor University, fully intent on becoming a therapist. Like that was going to be my main thing. I wanted to be an LMFT, marriage and family therapist. I wanted to help couples. I wanted to help couples that struggle with parenting. You know, just very focused on the family unit. And then once I got out of Baylor, I started looking at different schools and different options, and I was approached by a person who was an LCSW, a licensed clinical social worker. And so she kind of told me, hey, you know, social work's a little bit of an easier route if you're interested in being a therapist. There's not as much schooling, it can be a cheaper way to go. And so I said, you know what, let's just do that. Let's go social work. But within the social work program, I think my eyes were kind of broadened to the larger community and the needs kind of structurally that we just have as a society that really affects kind of those individual level things, and affects the individual, affects the family. And that's where my eyes were kind of open to the possibility of getting an advanced degree where I could use my skills. So I just had an affinity for research and statistics and all that stuff. And so I could use those skills to then help kind of identify these larger problems and come up with larger solutions rather than focusing specifically on the family. And so kind of within that came a mix, I think, of my desire to help a family where, you know, domestic violence kind of came in because I had an internship at a domestic violence family justice center. And so that desire to help the family kind of married with this passion for community level change. And I think that's how I've ended up here. I'm very focused. I'm very focused on kind of like how the larger community really impacts the family unit, and how in some ways it makes it impossible for people to just survive. And so how can we as a community, how can we as social work professionals work within our structure to change things to make it better for people?
That sentence you use, it makes impossible for a family to survive.
Yeah.
That's a very strong sentence, but unfortunately it defines what Memphis is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
So let us now, we talked about, and you mentioned gaps.
Yeah.
Please mention the gaps in depth.
So like I said, I think it's just resources. I think we have great organizations here that have tremendous passion and desire, but their resources are just not there. If you could give every organization that is in Memphis $1 million, I think we could solve a lot of problems, and honestly, because really the people are there, the passion is there, the support is there. It's just the lack of resources that is the biggest thing. Financial resources, housing, food, jobs, childcare. One of the biggest barriers for women leaving the home of an abusive partner is employment and childcare. How can you get a job that can not only pay for your cost of living, but also pay for childcare for your kids? Because you can't do both. You can't work and have your children with you at all times. And so yeah, just the lack of resources there is a huge, huge gap in our community. Yeah.
And now as we come towards the end of this show, what are the few things that you would like to share about the job that you do and your involvement in the task force?
Yeah, I love my job. I love that I get to work with social work students. Most of our students are from Memphis, and they're going to stay in Memphis. And so I feel like in a lot of ways, pouring into them, mentoring into them, I am hopefully creating community level change that way. Whereas, if I were to just be a person working in a small organization, I don't think I would have quite that impact. So I really love that about my job. A lot of the students that we have are passionate about the issues that they're excited about, and they come from a very deep place a deep personal connection.
Mm.
Like I said, they're from Memphis. They know the problems that are in Memphis, and they want to solve the problems that are in Memphis. And so helping them get the education and the skills that they need to be able to do that is a big thing that I love about my job. And then in my involvement with the task force, I just feel like every time I leave a task force meeting, I just feel so inspired because everyone in the room, we're all there to try to find solutions, right? We're all coming together to find solutions. And I think the fact that everybody is willing to come together, they take the time out of their day, their busy schedules to come together and have those conversations, is just amazing, miraculous work. And so I leave every single meeting being inspired and hopeful and ready to do what my little piece of the pie can be. Because really, it's not me, right? It's going to be them. And so I see myself very much as a support person in this whole task force, and just a facilitator to whatever I can do, whatever skills I have that can be used to help them grow and get what they need to do the amazing jobs that they need.
Okay, so I want to confess that two confessions. That is exactly what I would have said. How
Great.
I feel after getting out of the task force.
Yeah, awesome.
The second confession is more impactful.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't have articulated as good as you did. So, you articulated it so very well.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you heard, Dr. Sarah Leat, she is a phenomenal impact in the community, and we thank her for coming to Memphis, picking Memphis as a place to come, and working. When we do any job, the fact is that we do an impact on the community, no matter what kind of job it is. However, having a job that impacts the community and then being associated with a task force that directly impacts the community in multiple ways, in finding resources, in helping communities, agencies, non-profits get funding and helping them find the way, guiding them in the right direction, takes a whole lot of effort. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Like I said, I'm just happy to be here mostly.
And we are happy that you are here. So ladies and gentlemen, until next time, have a phenomenal time. And when you tune in to our next show, know that we are going to have a guest who is going to have an impact on the community, whether in Memphis or a different part of the world. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.